Hey boy, you look mighty cute in them jeans.
Below me, copper! How about that?
I've created a monster, 'cause nobody wants to see Marshall no more. They want shady, I'm chopped liver. Well, if you want shady, this is what I give you. A little bit of me mixed with some hard liquor, some vodka that'll jumpstart my heart quicker than a shock when I get shot at the hospital by the doctor when I'm not cooperating. When I'm rocking the table while he's operating. Hey, you waited this long to stop debating, 'cause I'm back, I'm on the. I know that you got a job, Miss Cheney, but your husband's heart problems complicating, so the FCC won't let me be, or let me be me, so let me see. They try to shut me down on MTV, but it feels so empty without me. So come on, dip, bum on your lips, jump back, jiggle the hip, and wiggle a bit, and get ready, 'cause this is about to get heavy. I just settled all my lawsuits, F you Debbie. Now this look like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, 'cause we need a little controversy, 'cause it feels so empty without me. This look like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, 'cause we need a little controversy, 'cause it feels so empty without me. Little hellions kids feeling rebellious, embarrassed. Their parents still listen to Elvis. They start feeling like prisoners. Help.
Hello, how are you? Well, it's been a kind of a funny week. Government shut down. It's that is what it is. I really have no straight up opinion on that. But as being a man of my word, in which I most definitely am, I have learned what a song. Excuse me. Let me rephrase this. I am a man of my word, so therefore I have learned the name of a Taylor Swift song with no research. All right, it just all of a sudden popped up, and it came off the Offer album, the Life of a Showgirl. It's called Wood. Okay, and at first I thought I had an idea what it was about because but anyway, she says, no, knock on wood, I will never have to go down the dating path again, which is very, very true within itself. But also, talking about his manhood. So she's talking about his cock. Either that or she's getting railed right. So anyway, one of the two. I mean, congratulations for her and good old Travis. One of the things that I did find out was that Taylor Swift is a big numbers person. So the year she was born, blah blah blah. I find myself to do the same thing. So numbers do mean a lot. So the funny thing is that she was born in, wait for it,
Bust it.
1989. So off my last we were talking about busting a move in 1989 when it came out. So it was funny to see the spike of childbirth within the United States in 1989. So I'll just go ahead and leave that there. And I knew that more than likely those ends were going to meet. So anyway, if y'all are unaware of who the Wood she's talking about, Travis Kelce, of course. He is now doing work as a tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. And being a Colts fan, I know this guy, and I don't like him. And it's just because he's one of those. He is absolutely a blue chip guy. He's automatic Hall of Famer. He's one of those tight ends where you just you don't know where he is ever. You plan to take care of him, and you just can't. He's one of those guys, Gronk-esque, Tony Gonzalez, Witten, no check type, just caliber, just badass. So anyway, he did his previous work in, believe it or not, 89, as the singer for Color Me Bad. As you can see here, yeah, this is him. He was the lead singer. So, yeah, so congrats to him on his career and everything that's going on. Old Tay-Tay. I think that's how the kids are calling her nowadays. So, anyway, there's that. So, just couple of things that have happened over the week that I thought was funny. Statements, presidential statements, which me personally, that's one of the things that I pride myself on, that I studied very hardly on, and everything else like that. So, with that being said, one of the funny things that someone brought up to me was, hey, they're asking, was like, hey, got any of the whole thing that happened at Quantico with the president and the Secretary of War? Um, um, what what is that going to mean for the Marines? And it's like nothing. That's kind of how we are anyway. So it was, and I'm not saying that I'm not having a go at that either. Just that's the truth. It spent, and yeah, I know. Y'all have to understand that Marines are like the worst group of salon crowd and clientele you can imagine. If you see a TV show and it's about Marines and and it goes salute to officer, you look at your friend and you're like, he's a shitbag salute. That was terrible. It's just the way we are. Everything gets graded. So it's just like, it's terrible. So, with that being said, that's the way we are. So there's several times that when we were in California, there were several Marines that we wanted to reach out to see if they would be speakers at our ball. Excuse me. And I was told, no, he's overweight. And you think that's a joke. No, that was the actual truth. I'm not going to say who they are because I don't want to bring any bad credit or any bad press on their name. But, yeah. And once again, the whole thing, I just absolutely shot off my mind. The whole thing with the, Honorable Mr. Hegseth saying that now it's the Secretary of War. I really don't have a problem with it, but it's kind of, you got to ask why are we changing this? It doesn't really matter. If he was like if we were in the midst of Afghanistan and Iraq again, well, it was a two front war shit going on, and obviously what was that? Djibouti, yeah. I get it, but as of right now, it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just not one of the things that, it's like, dude, just wait a year. Let's let all the smoke clear first before we start changing names and shit. Then trying to think, who's the last one? No, I'll think of it eventually. But the last Secretary of War was in 1947. I know he was from North Carolina, but I can't remember his name now. North Carolina, 47. I'll think of it eventually. But anyway, 47 was the last war. It got switched over. And of course, the first one being Henry Knox. And that one couldn't be any better. And then Pickering, I think, was our second. So with that being said, those two guys, I get it, because you had really, we didn't have a defense department set up. It was only war at the time, and so yeah. And anyway, the change, it wasn't absolutely necessary. So one of the things I do want to play here is a couple of statements. I heard something that. Sometimes you can't really pick out what a president will say or won't say. So sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But sometimes it's on brand, sometimes it's not. So I picked out 3 that were on brand and 1 that wasn't. So, okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read these out. Okay. On the right side, obviously, I'm going to read out the presidents. You should know who these guys are. So, first one's Abraham Lincoln. Going down is Lyndon Baines Johnson, obviously from Texas. Good guy, Democrat. So Republican, Democrat, and then you have Donald J. Trump. Okay, that's Republican, and then at the bottom you have Teddy, who is our Theodore Roosevelt, who is also a Republican. So I have 4 statements off to the side here. Okay, the first one is, we do build submarines. We do not build ships. Do you know in the Second World War there were freighters and different types, but we were doing a ship a day, and now we don't do ships. I am a fan of I am not a fan of the ships you do. Okay, that's the first one. Obviously, a little bit gave away a lot of a couple of the presidents there, but we'll keep moving. Okay, what kills a skunk is the publicity it gives itself. Okay, and the next one is, when they call roll in Senate, the senators do not know whether to answer present or not guilty. Okay, the next one is, but whenever I gain a little weight, they cut me under there. You never do have much margin there. See if you can leave me an inch where the zipper ends. Because he burped it during round back to my bunghole so I can let it out if I need to. All right, obviously a couple typing errors in there. We'll just roll with it. All right, so a couple of these statements, you do have some pretext in there. So the first one was talking about ships in the Second World War. So the Second World War, you can rule out Teddy and Abraham. So that one right there is going to belong to either of these 2 top guys. Got that. All right, the skunk. All right, that goes to any of them. Call roll in the Senate. All right, then go to the end of them. And the last one, talking about zippers. So zippers, you could pretty much rule out Abraham Lincoln. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and play this out. So the first one is obviously going to make a lot of sense. It's the one that can go to all of them. So we know that Abraham Lincoln is going to talk about the skunk. So there we are. Okay, so with that being said, Teddy was the one that said that they don't know to say present or not guilty. Okay, those were the 2 that would actually fit to both. So now we have our 2 outliers done. Next one. Both these are funny. Okay, President Trump said this. This was part of his speech he made to the at Quantico the other day. And the last one is no shit. Yes. LBJ did say that. And the first part of that was him talking about...
Believe me, about an inch from where the zipper ends, round under my, back to my bunghole. All right.
Little tidbits from the presidents and what they like to say. Some of that was public, some of it was private, but hey, it's all there. So, yeah, there's that. So, one of the other things I like to get into is something I like to call social terrorism. All right. This is not bad. It's not, well, it can be, but if it's taken the wrong way. That's just basically being a pest. That's it. I don't really mean so much as terrorism, blowing shit up, nothing like that. But just fucking with people. And it's fun. I mean, everybody thinks it's fun. And one of the funniest ones that I remember this I'll remember this to the day I die because it was so damn funny. When I was in the oil field, you would have to fly to, Louis Armstrong in New Orleans and get taken to a hotel, stay overnight, and then get on a helicopter the next morning, go out to the oil rig in the middle of the Gulf. All right, but when you came back, you went to Louis Armstrong, and you've been gone for like 30 plus days. So of course, first thing you do is have a couple beers. So most people got kind of loose. So most of us were coming home, and we knew each other, and we're flying back to Houston. So this one time, there was this girl that was sitting up in first class, and of course, this friend of mine was eyeing her, and like, oh my god, she's hot. I was like, yeah, she's cute, whatever. Anyway, so she goes to use the bathroom up in the front, and it's locked. So I guess it was an emergency, so she had to walk by us and go use the one in the back. And of course, she's walking by, and he's like, hey, and she was just like not paying any attention to him. So he's like, damn, what a snob, man. I was like, yeah, dude, that was kind of rude, but, she's on a plane, a bunch of dudes, just leave her alone. So she comes back through, and it just hit the right perfect time, and the whole plane it's almost full. I think there's like 5 seats open. And he goes, "Hey, what were you doing in there? Were you pooping?" And it was like she turned as red. I mean, as red as the sign. Where's it? There? Yep. Red as that sign. And it's like you thought she was about to burst into tears, and everybody just started laughing. It was so damn funny. And I mean, yeah, I get it. It's a little embarrassing, but it's just like, all right. No, all right, yeah, I get it. No one deserves that. But it was just funny. So, anyway, my form of social terrorism today is one I've been playing since I was in like 7th, 8th grade. So, this one is the shaker trick. So, here it is. First thing you do is you are going to remove the top off that shaker. So you take it off, and this is let me a little preface here. This is Parmesan, all right, like a Parmesan cheese shaker. All right, what you do is you're going to remove the top of it. It's like in pizza joints, wherever you may go, where they may have them. It might work with salt and pepper. I've never tried, but you can definitely try. All right, so the first thing you do is you're going to take the lid off said name shaker, just like that. And then you'll get a piece of paper or napkin and cover the main orifice of it here, just like that. Then the next thing you do, you're going to apply pressure to the top of it, so that way none of that stuff gets out, and you're going to flip it. So that way the napkin is between the jar and the table, and it's sitting flush on the table. So what you do from there is you gingerly pull that napkin or piece of paper out, exposing all the stuff to the table, and then you put the lid back on top. So whenever they do, what they are going to do is they're going to pick it up, and everything's going to pour out the bottom. Perfect joke. Everything's fine. Right. So, yeah. Try that out, and you'll see that you'll be scaring your friends and pissing off a lot of people that will have to clean it up. Yeah, but it is funny. So there is that. So one of the other things I would like to do is I would like to first reach into our No Chance. We haven't done one of these in a while, so a couple of people sent me them. I was like, all right, well, I'll go ahead and play them first. Pulled it out. Here, we got it right here. And it is... Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh. Lance says you better get out there and get her baby to stop crying, take her dog for a walk, or you're going to have to toss the salad again. Okay, what you get is you receive not having to toss the salad. All right, so that's not a bad deal right there. So, yeah, some of the people that have weird contracts and shit going on in their lives that they have to pay their rent in other ways, this would definitely be a good card, and I'd save it too. So, yeah, there's that. All right, let's get to the old neighborhood sack. What does a neighborhood sack hold for us? I got the card. Ooh, got the card right here. It came up yellow in the light. All right. Let's see what the old neighborhood sack has for us. Okay, looks like a win, actually. $200. Okay, you win a bet. The chick your friend is going to marry was in a full-way porno film in her sorority days. Ha well, it always feels good to be right. So the $200 will actually put the cherry right on top of that. So, yep, there you go. My story about that is there is this girl that brought her kids over in my neighborhood to go trick-or-treating. I swear up and down she's a porn star. Showed the picture to my wife, and my wife was like, holy shit, that is her. I'm like, I'm not going to ask her for an autograph or anything because I could be wrong, but it doesn't look like I am. So I'm not going to say anything to make everything fucking weird and shit. So, anyway, that's that. So, okay, let's go ahead and head over to the hit department and view some shots to the nuts. So here we go. First one. Okay, so just going to go over a couple other funny things here. I like to keep up with the whole Google thing, because Google, if you ever get bored at work and you're just like sick and tired of looking at other things, just get on Google. Look at the above views. And also look at the road views. The road views are good as well too. So yeah. Anyway, one of the things that you can find on the road here. This is one. I like to call this "No Time for Love," Dr. Jones. Yeah. But the whole thing is, this is obviously, I'm not pretty sure this ain't America, but even if it isn't, it does make good sense. All right, look, yeah, there you go. There's that. No good. Definitely don't want your kids coming in and going, hey, what are they doing? All right, so next one is just some weird things you may see, like the horse having dinner here, just like that. So nice. And if you'd like to take a friendly bet saying that is in Florida, you more likely would be right. Not to hate on you, Florida, but just to let you know the odds would be pretty high. All right, so another thing is you might run into some people that may help you clean up after you're done. There we go. This. Wonder what they got in those bags. So yeah, you never know what you're gonna see on this. It obviously does, in fact, look like a body. So another thing you could see some bad things from up above. So you can't really look at this and say that they didn't know what they were doing. This was probably built this way, and there's no way you can actually contest this. But yeah. If you were to flip that around, I know it'd probably be a bigger image, but it definitely does, in fact, look like a penis. So another thing is, too, this is a church. So, yeah, no good. Okay, being the fair person I have, the view also shows something that may look a little something different. So, yeah, this is, I forgot what part of, like, desert. I don't know where it's at, but it's definitely on YouTube. I mean, on YouTube and on Google. So, yep.
Hypothetical, political, lyrical, miracle whip, just like butter. My rhymes are legit, cause I'm a Humpty, not Humpty Dumpty, but Humpty Hump. Here a hump, there a hump, everywhere I'm Humpty Hump.
Shut up and just listen, not dissing, don't get me wrong. But to me it's just the same old song, so just watch. Cause my name is Shock, I like to rock and you can't stop this. Tupac, go ahead and rock
now
this.
I clown around when I hang around with the underground. Girls used to frown, say I'm down when I come around. Gas me, and when they pass me, they used to diss me, harass me. But now they ask me if they can kiss me. Get some fame, people change, wanna live their life high. Same song can't go wrong if I play the nice guy.
Claiming fame must have changed now that we became strong.
I remain still the
Why
same,
two?
cause it's the same song.
It says human lips, and I think it looks like something else. Okay. All right. So, okay, now, since we're into it, the other places, just other places to eat. And these all came up, and I'm sorry that they all came up as Asian cuisine, but it just seems to be odd. So, first one is New Big Wong. Now this, they have to know what's going on with this. They just can't go, okay, yeah, we really didn't know what we were saying. We didn't know what we were doing. No, you can't do that with this. This is definitely wrong. You can't be doing this. So yeah, New Big Wong. That's gotta go. Next one, Fat Fuck Noodle Bar. Yeah, no good. But then again, we all know it's probably going to be Fook. But, yeah. And Poo Poo Hot Pot. Okay. That one, I don't know if that's, I mean, it just can't be real. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. In fact, to tell you the truth, the place I got this picture, there were several others of them, so I know that more than likely there is a little bit of truth in reporting here. But, okay, so the last one is here. I guess this place had been getting a lot of calls and people telling them, asking them certain questions. So, yeah, kind of feel sorry for them because it's kind of bad, but all right, here we go. Wicked Walk. This is a Chinese restaurant, as you can see here. No, we no see cat of yours. Please, more ask. No more ask. Please. So, yeah. So, they don't have your cat. So stop fucking asking. That's pretty much what they're saying there. So, yeah, that's done. So, okay, we got shots on that. So, other acts of just people being funny. These are just random pictures of people being bored, seeing things that remind them of other things, and they make sure that everybody knows. So, like this one. This one's sad. No pie. Yeah, I can understand if someone didn't have any pie, they'd be really upset. So, yeah, so what it was is they got the old nose smoking, and just drew one line down the bottom. Yeah, sure as shit. Looks like pie. Done. Another one. Everybody's seen these? Clitoris. I'm pretty sure that's not the way it's spelled. But, yeah, funny nonetheless. So, yeah, good job, guys. That one's pretty good. How about a little bit of sausage? Guess that's his fragrance or something. I don't know. But, yeah, someone snuck in that S there. And to tell you the truth, I don't even know if this is true or not because I don't know what the original name is. Anyway, it's funny as shit when you're talking about this free sausage. Anyway, okay, here's a good one. This is something that's always bothered me. Is that we had a Lions field growing up, right? And play baseball. And, of course, it's the same, like, you always see it in cities when you drive in, like Kiwanis, Lions Club, and all this other stuff. And it's like, I didn't get, as a kid, you're like, Lions? We have Lions in America? Yeah, anyway, this is one that actually is kind of funny. And it does make sense. It's like, yeah, it's done by the Lions organization, but yeah, there ain't no fucking lions, dude. So, yeah, and that one is a little bit of truth in graffiti. So, anyway, it's always fun with the graffiti thing that someone step up and do something funny like that. But anyway, here's one that I have always enjoyed. Applaud the jellyfish. Okay, yeah. So that one has always made sense to me and funny as hell. So, well, this one's good. And a good warning, too, as well. So it's like, you would like to know, like, yeah, boner land ahead. So, instead of one lane, ooh, boner country. There you are. And then, here's one at the old church. Be gay and horny. Now, these message boards, I think they're called sentence boards. I'm not too sure. These things can be really, really dangerous, especially if you have, like, if you have your church, like, right next to a bar, and people are walking home, and they see this. If, like, you're in a small town, like, look, this does look like a pretty small town. So if there's, like, a Chili's next to it, and you and your homeboys go out there and have a couple beers, you're like, all right, what did you do? And you're like, there's a penis on the board now. So, yeah, there's always that. So, yeah, there's always this problem with the bacon. Good one. World's smallest pee-pee. So, I mean, this one took a little bit of time because you're like, all right, what exactly did it say? And you're like, world's good. All right, tallest. Got it. Tallest. Teepee. So, of course, they turned it into the world's smallest pee-pee. All right, well, I don't know what it is about the whole vandalism thing. Yeah, it probably really piss you off if it was on your property, so if it was like a penis or something on something you really enjoy. I completely understand that, but, so, yeah. Here's another one. Really like this one. This one's pretty easy, simple, right to the point. Instead of a stop, it's poop. So something a lot of you kindergartners get behind on this one. This one's funny. But anyway, if you're driving along, you see that, you're like, okay, the rest is not going to be vandalism. It's just going to be random pictures. This is one that is really, really near and dear to my heart. Now, a lot of people have opinions of this, and it's absolutely fine. Which school of thought you actually belong in. But this is my school of thought. I didn't make this either, so I'm an HK guy. I love Heckler & Koch. They are an absolutely amazing weapon. The first time I picked one up, drilled a hole out of a target. It's the first weapon I ever bought, too. It was 45 HK. Beautiful weapon. We'll never sell it. Absolutely love it. Damn thing's dead nuts. Great weapon. Now, that is my opinion, and I understand a lot of people do have their opinions. SIG, the only reason I really like SIG is because of their certain things that they do are really, really neat. Now, they were the first ones that I found that had an external trigger and was easy to make ready for my mom when I bought her a pistol. So that's why I stuck with it. Now, if you want one that you want to give to your loved one that is easy to make ready, the 2022 SIG is one of those. I'm not saying it's the best, not by any means. I haven't tried others, and I just know that that one's easy to make ready. So if that's something you want, go ahead and try it. That's my advice. The 1911 was just strong, and that's why you see it's old and it's strong, and that's the funny thing. That's the funny part of that picture is like that woman should not be deadlifting that much weight. But then again, at the same time, the 1911 is tried and true. I mean, it is an amazing weapon. And of course, it's throwing shade at Glock. And Glock guys, I mean, I don't have a problem with Glock, but Glock guys kind of do. It's kind of like, not a problem with Jesus, you have a problem with their followers. But the Glock guys, there are a lot of like CrossFit guys. They just, I mean, and crypto guys too. They will not stop talking about it, how great they are. Now, Glock does fall under a very bad premise. It does. There is a certain hand mold to it, and if it, I mean, I've never gone out of my way to block myself of it, but I just can't shoot one. I mean, I've tried my best, and I just can't. And I'm a damn good shooter. I can't remember the last time I shot at something didn't hit it. So I think it was the last time I used the Glock, and it's just wasn't hitting where I wanted to. It was just I don't know. It was just me, and nothing bad on them. The people that they actually work for are amazing. They're amazing shooters. So it's like you may have to go in there with no bad habits or used to firing something else. I don't know, but to me, it didn't work. And yeah, they make amazing products. It's just not for me. I'll just put it that way. I'm not throwing shade at them. Let's see another one. With design here, this is just bad. Not get it. I mean, if I saw this place, I'd go get a fucking hot dog. I would. But then again, I'd also get my picture with it and send it to my homeboys. Like, hey, look at this shit. They, of course, and I don't even want to know what's going on with that dog at the end. There's got to be some, nasty pictures going around the internet about that damn thing. But it just doesn't. It's not a good idea. It's not a good look. I would go just for the gag of it, but I know a lot of people would find that very disheartening and very disconcerting. So, anyway. Now another place I would go eating. This place. And I think I would bend over just so I get that picture too. Someone sent it to me. I was like, yeah, get yourself enjoy a nice cold Coke, if you will. There we go. So there is that. Let's moving on with that. There are some, getting into the pre-made pictures. And these are obviously, it took time to make these, so I get it. There's the whole creativity is lost on it, but this is a good one. I've always enjoyed this picture. This is funny as hell. Yep. Blow it out your ass, cop. There we go, right there. Perfectly timed picture, which it is not perfectly timed because he was like, hey, Joey, go get a picture. I'm going to go bend over. It's going to look like I'm fighting out a cloud. Yeah, that was not patience. All right, so there's that, and there's I'm a king of the world until Siegel has other plans. And yeah, this reminds me of the whole Fabio thing when he got hit in the nose with a goose. yeah. I don't know, seafowl and the enjoying of the ocean at the same time are never good. So you can always tell where someone stands with certain things. They're like, all right, That's Captain Sobel, so I don't get this joke. All right, but yeah, okay. Before he was good old Ross on Friends. I mean, before he was Captain Sobel, he was Ross on Friends. So of course, it's Crosswalk and says something about dinosaurs. I don't get that part, but I guess the Ross part. So yeah, okay, funny. So the next portion is real, real housewives. So here are the real housewives of Palestine. I didn't see this one when I took it up. Oh man, that's just fucking wrong. Okay, all right, I'll let that one go. Okay, fine. So yeah, it's just with me. I just like to get these things and share it. So it's just a laugh. So yeah, one of the first things that I want to get into here is the military standpoint, just medals and stuff like that. So the one that I want to go over first is I usually do a medal per, and this time I want to do a ribbon, one that has a ribbon only. And there's not many of those. And when I give my 2 cents of it, it is from a Marine Corps standpoint because of my background. Now, I don't know a whole bunch about the other branches' individual medals, but there are some that are universal. This one is not, and I will also tell you I do have this one. So, all right, and this is one that I do have, and I do have a funny story about this one that does include Arlie Ermey, and yeah, this one is the Battle E, and I'll just let it hover up here. Really cool thing about this, a petty officer had designed this. It used to be if I'm not mistaken, it used to be a patch, I'm not mistaken, in the 70s, and it got changed over to this. So, basically what it is a contest with the Navy and within between ships, and it stands for Battle Efficiency. So it's the Naval Battle Efficiency Award. And it is offered only in a ribbon. So it does have the Navy's colors with the navy blue and gold, and of course the white with the E, which I think was a 3/16 inch E that goes on there. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you could have as many as 4 on here with the big E, meaning 5, and like everything else with the bronze stars to gold stars. Or the gold stars to silver stars. So. Yeah, this one, you can get several awards on this, and they build up. And to me, I got mine, which, if you look at it, Marines cannot get them. But when you're in avionics, you get assigned to the ship. So it's combat cargo, Marine combat cargo, and the AIMD division of aviation Marines, or avionics Marines, are assigned to the ship. So that's why we were able to get it. So the beginning of Afghanistan in 2001 to 2002, we had won the award for battle efficiency. So it was really cool that I had a couple people, and of course it's the usual Marine Corps bullshit where they're like, no, it's a Navy award, we don't wear it. And it's just like, no. They wouldn't have got it without us. So it's like, anyway, so what I did, I had to talk to the petty officer that was my boss at the time, chief petty officer, I was the chief, as a sergeant. He said, look, he had to go look it up and go find the all nav, if I'm not mistaken, then it came out, and basically say that the ship belonged to it, give it to me, and I did put it into my record book. So he told me, no, don't do it. I'll do it. Don't worry. I got you. You work for me. And I was like, okay. And he hooked it up like a fucking boss. 7 days later, it was in my record book. I was like, God dang, man. That's fucking badass. And he said, hey, look, don't worry about it. And he even said it was cool. He was, he looked at me and goes, I'll do you up. Don't worry about it. So it was like really cool. We had a really cool understanding, me and that guy. So, anyway, yeah. So this actually brought me to another thing. So I don't really like bitching and complaining about medals and stuff like that and getting stuff right in movies and shit. And there's a reason why. It's because they can't. Impersonating officers, I mean, we all take that very seriously. And we all understand that they're just actors. But at the same time, there's a certain respect that goes to all the devices and shit that, our armed forces wear. So, like, other things. There's a lot of other things. It's not just the Marine Corps. It's not just Navy and a Battle E. It's like cavalry in the Army and their Stetson. It's very, very tried and true. So many things. The French Fortiget with the Marine Corps and I think I'm not sure, but there are other branches that also have certain things. The berets, even though I poked fun and I still find a deep respect in where they came from. So the first sergeant in the Air Force being a shirt and the reason behind that, and the shirt that he wears for that. So there's a lot of really cool shit that comes out of the devices that we wear. So one of the reasons that this it didn't strike a nerve, we just thought it was funny, is that the way that a lot of movies just do not do research. Some do, some don't, and most of them don't. So this is one of them that really, really kind of it didn't chap my ass, but it kind of brought me to the front of maybe me to look into this. But this is this one, and of course it's Maverick. Everybody loves Maverick. Right, great movie. Anyway, if you look real close to this picture, that on the right side of it, okay, over here on him, you can see where he has a
Okay, I'm gonna get right back into this. I had a couple of little difficulties in redoing this, and if you haven't noticed, the border on my sign has turned red for some fucking reason. So, add it to the list of shit I'm gonna do today. So, anyway, I'll bring up good old Maverick's rack here, and I'll bring them filleted so that way they're different. So, here's rack 1. And it's not here. Nope, here it is. Cool. So, first thing here that you see is his naval aviator wings, which is right here, gold up at the top. I have to look at the picture again. I don't know why it's not going down the crease line, but it's probably for some fucking stupid reason. Just why I even noticed that is a fucking long story. The first medal here is, and this was definitely medal, it's his most senior one. The highest ranking one is a Silver Star. Very prestigious medal. You don't see it often at all. Very, very rare. In fact, the only one I saw was a young Lance Corporal, believe it or not, in a military clothing store when I was buying medals in Pendleton. And he picked it off the rack like he was getting his uniform ready for the ball. So it was like around late October, so he's getting his medals ready. And I'm just staring at it like, whoa, that's... And then he stops, he goes, "You don't think I rated, do you?" And I'm like, "How dare you, sir?" And I was like, no. I was like, no, that's not what I was looking at. That's very prestigious. And he goes, "I rate it." And I was like, okay. And it was, I guess he did something in Iraq that was absolutely stellar, and he got it. So he was like, "Yeah, you wouldn't believe it. A lot of people ask me." And he goes, "Especially staff NCOs ask me if I really rate that. It's really embarrassing." And I was like, "I can imagine it would be, man." I didn't say man, of course. So I shook his hand and said, "Hey, congratulations." So anyway, very prestigious medal. Next one right here is the Legion of Merit. It's red and white, and it just has very little traces of white on the corner ends. But that one, I have to look into it. I know it's, I see a lot of upper staff staff NCOs in the Army that have this. Not too many officers from what I've seen. But it's quantitatively from what I've seen, a enlisted medal, given to, mostly Army. I've seen a couple Marines that had it, but it's been Nowhere close to the amount of Army that have it. The next one is the military. Oh shit! I always get this wrong. Defense Meritorious Service Medal, and it's really, really easy to pick out because it has those 3 stripes. A lot of these medals have their like determining attributes that you could pick them out from a long way. But that one is another one of those joint awards that they just give officers for and upper staff for going to some sort of joint exercise, and who knows. It has to do with brass and meetings. Let's put it that way, and a lot of fucking PowerPoint. So yeah, we'll just leave that there. Yeah, whatever. The next one is the Meritorious Service Medal, and that one is obviously an individual medal. So very prestigious. You see a lot of. This is another one of the Army, mostly. I'd say upper enlisted. So like staff sergeant up, they give this away a lot. So you'll see a lot of license plates with this on it. There's a lot of people have it. And it's like this is also officer candy too, like majors. This is like you've been a good boy. Your guys are real good, so we're gonna give you a medal. So type of medal, blah blah blah. Anyway, very prestigious. From what I've seen, as you know, as a Marine, is very prestigious. You don't see hardly anybody with that except their officers. Next one's the Air Medal, and this one right here. And I'll probably do a whole episode on that because that one's very somewhat controversial. That of when it comes down to medals, at least. But yeah, I will definitely talk about that because basically it's so much falls underneath it. So like flight hours and then combat, and of course he has a device on his, which I think is combat determined. So yeah, next one is the NAVCOM, or the Navy Commendation Medal. This I have one of those. I finally got one of those when they gave me when I retired. So it's yeah, I'm gonna say it's prestigious, but it's definitely it's up there when it comes to for Marines, for enlisted. Excuse me, for peacetime, it's very, very high. So that's just basically doing a really, really good job. That one you can get it for anything really. It can be impact or a long amount of time, and I only got one, so I guess it was from my whole career, so I guess it's pretty important. Anyway, the next one is the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, or what we call the NAM. It's just this one right here is a really cool one. You should, I would say by a metric, you should be getting this by the time you're getting your good conduct or good cookie, because it's basically what it is. This one is corporals. This is a corporal medal, and I call it that because this is if you really want, if your staff and CO wants that Marine to get promoted, what they'll do is they'll give them this, so it'll help them out with their pros and cons to get them promoted. Or a sergeant going for staff sergeant. If you have an award in your reporting period, it really, really looks good for boards and stuff like that. So, or selection boards and promotion boards. So, yeah, it's this right here. It's just a boost medal. It's just to help your career out. And that's the only way I've really seen it used, or just to tell someone they're doing a good job. So there's that. But it's more. We used it more for promotion. Next one is the Combat Action Ribbon. It's one of the first polarized ribbons, and a very high-ranking ribbon. So, but the number one thing is it shouldn't be here. And this is the first fallacy of this whole thing that I see. This ribbon is for combat action. It's not from what I've seen ground. So also Navy enlisted. I guess Navy commission could get it as well, but it's not for pilots. Pilots get the Air Medal, so this should not be here. And once again, it is polarized. It's one of the 4 polarized medals, ribbons and medals that I can think of, because the blue here is on the left side. So it's blue, white, and red. Red being to the inside, blue being to the outside. The next polarized medal is ribbon is right next to it. This is the JMAL, Joint Meritorious Unit Award. It has this gold border, very distinctive for what it is. That gold border, the only other time you'll see that is on the KPUC, or the Korean Presidential Unit Citation. That's one that's got the yin yang in the middle of it. This, and it's polarized because the oak leaves on the border, that gold border, go up. So they'll go like that. So that's how that one is polarized. That one's just, that was one of the first medals I got. I mean, ribbons I got. I got it for being at the Presidential Unit Site. Presidential Helicopter Squadron in Quantico, Virginia. The next one is the one we already talked about, the Navy Battle Efficiency ribbon. And do have a funny story about that one. That ran into several problems with this, with Marines, blah blah blah. Saying, we don't wear Navy ribbons, this, that, and the other thing. It's trying to be all macho and shit. And it was like, you look in your record, you do rate it. But I had to do a Toys for Tots event, and it was at the country store on Pendleton. And it was basically, hey, look, there's going to be someone famous there. It's going to be signing shit and, helping the Toys for Tot drive. So they'll come in there and they'll meet him. You give a toy, and then, you give them the toy and you get to meet the guy, and it should get, a big crowd to donate for Toys for Tots. So we had to be in our blues. So we show up there and we're in our blues, and set up the table and all the barrels for everything for all the Toys for Tots. And here he comes. It's Ermey. You're like, oh, wow. And I was just, of course, he's like the godfather of the Marine Corps, So anyway, with Chesty being the emperor, don't get mad. But yeah, he's definitely the godfather. So the funny thing about him, he comes in and he's smoking a cigarette right in the store. And someone comes and goes, sir, you can't smoke in here. And he just kind of looks at him and just keeps smoking. It's like that thug life right there, man. But anyway, so he sits down, blah, 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 talking and shit like that. And he's some of the things he'd say was pretty funny. He was talking about kissing Jack Black and saving Silverman. And I remember someone said, hey, about the fifth time, he goes, for the fifth time that someone brought it up about the saving Silverman thing, he goes, all right, you guys, they paid me a lot of money to kiss Jack Black, all right? Because everybody's like, no, our Marine Corps savior did not kiss another man. Yeah, he did. He did it for a lot of money. So, anyway, when it was all said and done, I got to shake his hand and get a picture of it. So, and that, pow, right there. All right, and the story about that was that somebody brought up the whole Battle E thing when he's standing right in front of him. So I'm standing behind Ermey, and someone goes, hey man, hey Sergeant, you shouldn't be wearing that Battle Efficiency ribbon. We don't wear Navy ribbons. And then that's when Ermey kind of looked back at me. He looked at the staff sergeant, I think it was, our gunning. And he goes, hey, leave the good sergeant alone. I have one. I was like, wow. Actually getting bailed out like that. And it's not even a bailout. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I rate the damn ribbon. So anyway, the really cool thing about that is that, number one, if he did, he backed me up. Number two, if he didn't, he lied to back me up. So I didn't even look it up to see it was straight. I'd rather believe that he didn't. And that was the kind of the badass he was. So anyway. So yeah, there's the Battle Efficiency. Next one is the National Defense. This is the Firewatch ribbon, as we call it, because if you were just in service during the Desert Shield, Desert Storm, you got it. I think it turned off, started in 90 and turned off in 94. I don't think it was 95. And I came in 96, so I didn't get it. But anyway, that was that. The third here is the Armed Forces Expedition. It's the third polarized. In the final polarized in this rack, and the number 3 of the four polarized ribbons and medals. And then you can see the blues to the inside on this one instead on the car would be on the outside. So the blues on the inside, reds on the outside. So that's how these two are different. So that's just, this one right here is just a very blanket expeditionary. It's the one that's given like instantly if there's not a campaign already devised. So yeah, you see this one a lot when it comes down to deployments. You see it fast too. So yeah. Next one is Southwest Asia, and this is kind of like a good example of the the Armed Forces Expeditionary, is that the Southwest Asia was given to almost everybody in Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and it was because Kuwait Liberation and the other Kuwait Defense, maybe, I don't know. Those are two very rare, in a very short period of time, medals, the two Kuwaitis. But, excuse me, the Southwest Asia is what they gave in place of that. So a lot of people that did Desert Storm got Southwest Asia. So yeah, there's that. So when you come up to the next operations, these are two operational medals or theater medals. This one is, and just real quick to preface this, is always confusing to think about which way they went and what order they went. You would think the Marine Corps would be like, all right, we're going to put them in out of alphabetical order, and they didn't. They kept it in alphabetical order, which really helps when you're putting these two together. So the first one's Afghanistan, and the second one's Iraq. So these two are Afghanistan and Iraq. So yeah, those are two campaign medals, so they're very distinct. You have to be here to get it, and yeah, it's not blanket like the Expeditionary or the Southwest Asia or the next one coming up. The next one, this one is the Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal. So this one, I've gotten this one. You can get this one for either one of these. You can swap these. These three are all swappable. So if you go to Afghanistan, you can get the Afghanistan or the Global War on or the GWADX. And then Iraq, the same thing. But if you have already got the GWADX and you go to Afghanistan, you can get the Afghanistan one. So I got the Afghanistan one for Afghanistan. I got the Iraq one for Iraq. And the third one I got for being deployed to Doha in Qatar, helping out the Air Force with certain things. And so, yeah, I was able to get all three. So, yeah, getting those three was kind of tricky. Yeah, I mean, you definitely had to record 3 deployments, and yeah, anyway. Next one is a Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, and that's once again like the Firewatch Medal. It's just, if you're in, you get it. Not a hard one. Next one is the Sea Service Deployment, and that is just basically saying this guy deployed. Now, this is the one that doesn't make any fucking sense. Okay, so I understand that he has 3 stars. Okay, he has a GWADX, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Okay, so there's 3. So he should have at least 2 stars on this, because each star is one time every 6 months you deployed. So, or 1 deployment. So this is wrong. Now, there are certain time frames where you can get the medal and 1 star, but to have 2 stars on both means he went twice, 2 times. I mean, twice each, and then the GWADX. So he deployed at least 5 times if you do the math here. So there should be at least 4 stars on the CSERV deployment. And not to mention, there should be a lot more there. And that's just the way it is. Next one is the NATO. And this is the blue and white one. You could always tell NATO because it looks like this. It's either that light blue or dark blue. And it has several different devices that go on it, but basically the NATO non-Article 5, there's so many things going on with it. It could be, there's a lot of them, and yeah, it's really strange, but I really haven't looked into it. It's just basically you say you got it, you don't, and one was for ISAF, and yeah, anyway. Next one is Kuwaiti Liberation, I think. Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and yeah, it is what it is. And the last 2 here are the Navy shooting medal. So he is an expert with the pistol and the rifle, which I understand the pistol, not so much as the rifle. It's one of those things that maybe that shouldn't be there. I don't know, but yeah, those are the 2 shooting medals. So with this in retrospect to his other medals. We'll go ahead and bring that up here. This is what he had earlier. So I'll get this enlarged. All right, so this is what he had in the first Top Gun in '86. So he still has his Battle E, which is cool. That matches. And now his Navy Expeditionary, which I don't know why they gave him that. That is, you have to land on the beach. No, you had to step foot in country. So he was a lieutenant, I think, in the first movie. I really don't think that he earned that. But yeah, the Navy Expeditionary is, basically, I think it's Seabees are the only one that get that, and obviously SEALs, or maybe not SEALs, maybe because they're clandestine. They don't really advertise when they go places, but maybe, I don't know. But the thing is, he shouldn't have this. I mean, I would say 99.9% sure he shouldn't. Next one he could definitely get. All right, this next one is humanitarian. We call it the bitch slap medal. If you look at it, it's got a hand on it, and it looks like about to get pimped, So yeah, but anyway, it's supposed to be reaching out the hand for humanitarian effort. But the ship gets these, the whole ship, from what I remember. If an LHD, LHJ, or CBN, they go into whatever port, and they go, okay, yeah, now we're supposed to go paint a school, and we've done that on the way back from Afghanistan. No, what was Afghanistan? There was a flow before that when we were on the Bella Wood. We actually ended up painting a school. And he's like, all right, you anybody want to volunteer to go paint a school? And you're like, yeah. Well, yeah. So we got the humanitarian effort where we helped them out doing something. But also it's more for like humanitarian aid after like a tidal wave or a monsoon or something like that. And yeah, it's basically you get the humanitarian effort. The humanitarian service medal. And that's right there. And it's really funny. That one has a database. This one in the car have a very, very individually named database. I take it back. Not the whole ship gets it. It is a very specific. It is strange. Not too many of them have a list database of who rates it. But yeah, the humanitarian service does. The last one is sea service. So he has the same amount of deployments he had then. So the weird thing is that the humanitarian service isn't here anymore, and the Naval Expeditionary isn't here anymore. Okay, when you go to make a fucking movie, go back to the other one. I found this by typing Maverick medals or dress whites into Google, and I was able to find exactly what his medals are. So anyway, just research that shit and get it right. So there's that. So yeah, I'm going to talk about medals a lot. Medals are one of the things, and ribbons are one of the things that's really near and dear to my heart, because there was no other job in the world where you pretty much have your resume on your chest. You show up and you're like, hey, where you been? Where the hell did you? And it's such like a conversation starter. I mean, so yeah, it was really easy to network people if you walk up and you see what they had, and you're like, okay, where you been? And they have something rare. You're like, wow, cool. And then you're basically giving them praise for what they did, and then they look at you and they do the same thing, and next thing you know, you've got another tentacle for your network. And that was the way I looked at it, and it worked out really well for me. So anyway, yeah. So there's that. Okay, this next portion is going to be something that's actually kind of bothered me a little bit as of late, and it kind of tears the scab off a big time double standard, and I really sometimes don't know how to feel about this. And just to let you know, I'm gonna show you these pictures, and there's a couple of them I didn't remove the whole thing. And look, I don't like to dogpile them, and I know that hopefully a lot of them have already, made their penance and are square with the house and society. And yeah, here they are. And they do have something that's really in common, and a lot of it is that they're definitely attractive females. And yeah, some of them, it's up to the eye of the beholder. Like I said, I'm not trying to judge anybody here, but another thing that actually brings them
into a circle of sorority is certain activities that they had partaked in. So these are teachers that had decided to have sex with their students. And yeah, it's sad. It really is sad. And the biggest question is, and of course, it's just ringing in the back of everybody's mind. Why did they do this? Why? And there's a myriad of answers for this. So many things can be said. And the double standard that comes out of it. And the really funny thing is, you would think in the back of your mind, if you're asked straight up, like, right, I mean, someone walks up to you with a census or whatever, said, all right, who partakes in student sex, teachers having sex with their teachers, more male or female? I would be the first one to say male. Absolutely no doubt about it. Male. More males are having sex with their students. Female students. Excuse me. And I would be dead wrong. And the answer, it is basically 10 to 1. So it was just absolutely astonishing how little of male activity like that happens. And it just really poses a question, why is that? And I guess it is because young males are just so, I don't know, you could say sexually gullible, probably, or just don't give a shit, where a lot of, females do, and thank God for that. It comes to a power thing. I mean, it really has to be a power thing. It really does, because it's like the woman can actually, the teacher's telling them what to do, how to do things, show up where, and they're the ones going to be, paying for whatever, getting the hotel room, or setting up the plans, because the guy is not going to be really in charge of this. The guy knows for sure. I mean, the young man knows that this is a no string attached thing. You can't date a teacher. You can't do that. And, it's going to obviously be sexual. So obviously you're getting that out of it too. So, so there's really not going to be a whole bunch of no on the man's side, but it's really shameful how everybody looks at the teacher afterwards. It's like, yeah, I get it. I know a lot of, I could just see it happening, like a mother would be really upset and will call her, the teacher a Jezebel or whatever else, a whore, hooker, whatever. And then the father will be high-fiving the kid. So that's part of the whole double standard I had. And I will tell you, in that whole group, there were a couple 10s and a couple 7s in those pictures. But the whole thing is to 16, or let's say it started, the lowest one was like 13, I think. So a 13 to 18-year-old boy, those are all 20s. So it doesn't matter. So, and one of the things we used to always joke about, and of course, the jokes get me, like, oh my God, it was like another, teacher had sex with their student. And I'm like, all right, the first question will always be, was she hot? Or how hot was she? And you look it up and you're like, wow, pretty fucking hot. And you're like, and then at the same time, the jokes go, well, I didn't go to that school. And you're like, yeah, so yeah, it's really a sad thing. And if a man did it, oh my God, they would treat him like Freddy Krueger. They would burn him in his house. And I mean, but but the females, they really, and the sad thing is I can't teach them when they lost their career for this. I mean, there's so much at stake for this. Why would they do it? And it's just like, and I'm pretty sure the way that most states roll, they had to, they would have to, have to register as a sex offender. And I was like, wow, okay, well, now you're on a public list now. You're absolutely screwed. And then not to mention your teaching career is gone. It's just sad. The whole situation is just sad. It's a crying at shame and why they would have to do it and then them doing it. So, and yeah. And from what I read, not a single one of those children or boys are traumatized. It's like, okay. And there was one reporter that I read, she was like, oh my God, it was like, aren't you traumatized? And the kid was like, no. In the way he said it a lot like Beavis and Butthead would say it. So it was just like, no. So, like, yeah. So the double standard in this whole thing, it just blows my fucking mind sometimes. So, yeah. Anyway, it's sad. It really is. And like I said, yeah. Okay, I'm going to talk to something that's very near and dear to almost every service member's heart, and it is the UCMJ, or the Uniform Code of Military Justice. All right. Yeah, this is pretty much the rule books that won't, if you get in trouble, this is what they're going to throw at you. So I know we've done a couple already. But this one is, it's near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. So I'm going to go ahead and display it and read it. So it's right here. And I don't know if you can read that or not. Let me see if we can enlarge it a little bit. There we go. Okay. Article 93 Alpha. Prohibited activities with military recruit or training by person in position of special trust. Okay. Article A is abusive training leadership position. Let's see. Article B is abusive position of military recruiter. And of course, C gets into the ideas of consent. And that is really, really cool that they went into the whole consent thing. Because consent here doesn't matter. You already fucked up. It doesn't matter if you both agree to it. It's bad. So, it basically goes into the ideas of, fraternization, that you can control somebody else's future, or they can get what they want by manipulating you through certain sexual acts. Doesn't matter. It's completely, it's unwelcome. And this is for all branches. It's not just Marine Corps. It's not just a Marine thing. So, anyway, this has to do a lot with recruiters. They can't bang their pulleys. And the people that are coming up as candidates. Another thing is, when you're an instructor, you can't use your position as a sexual benefit. And I'll tell you all, personally, I ran into a situation where I had to do a health and comfort on an individual. It wasn't my student, but anyway, we're all brothers, so you go and you take care of your brother's business while he's busy. So we had to go do a health and comfort on this girl. And health and comfort is where you break open all their stuff, break their locks, and replace with new ones, and go through their stuff. Now, I know a lot of people probably don't think that's very fair or legal. But once again, let y'all know, USMC stands for you signed the motherfucking contract. So it's quite legal. And we started going through a couple of different things. And there was a corporal with me at the time. And he was looking through something. I was looking through some of her stuff. And we had to basically find whatever we found to be weird. We didn't know the whole story. The people that told us to come over there knew the whole story. And pretty much knew that we would find what they were looking for. That's what they were looking for. So, anyway, this corporal's over there. And he's looking through the stuff. And he goes, Sergeant, I found something that's actually quite interesting. I was like, cool, I'll be over in a second. He goes, no, you need to look right now. So I looked over there and I was just like, oh shit. Okay, this picture, it was pictures of her and about 10 other students that we currently had in our schoolhouse at the time that were partying with instructors. And some clothing was missing, and I mean, it was just like, I mean, I'll just put it this way, 2020 loves beating up the Marine Corps. This is like their wet dream. So you're just like, oh shit. And it was just like, I mean, you could not be a senior man with a secret on this. You couldn't hide this. This was like, all right, you knew that you were about to ruin a whole bunch of people's careers. Both sides. So students and, Marine instructors. And Navy instructors too as well. And Navy students. So we had both. So, long story short, this student, she had what it seemed to be an abortion, and she had told the doctor that I guess the abortion was something she didn't want. She had to have it. Her so-and-so told her to do it, her boyfriend, and they, so pretty much got back to the command. Command said, hey, look, go get her stuff. And find out, pretty much they wanted to know who her boyfriend was, because I think they had a hunch. All right, so anyway, we bring this back to the CO, and the CO is just like, and he's just stoic. He won't move, like, oh, shit. And he goes, all right, we need to have everybody come in here and have a conversation. He goes, all right, look, we found something that's pretty bad. It's, what we're going to have to do is, our biggest thing is we're going to take care of the people that, we're going to punish the people involved. What's going to happen? Because I don't want any press involved. And you're like, okay, cool. Yeah, me neither. I really don't, because, you don't want to add insult to injury. So, anyway, we completely agreed on it, that we wouldn't say anything to anybody. All right, well, the biggest deal was that later on that night, I went home. I remember I went to the gym, I went home, and that was back in the day of Yahoo Messenger. So, that was real big. And of course, I'm looking there and having a couple beers. And I remember I was watching Saw, because it just came out on disc. And I was watching that and doing my Yahoo thing. And then I just all of a sudden got this picture of a chick, very, very, very attractive. And I was like, wow, that's nice. And I was like, well, I just sent her a response back. I was like, wow, do you have a sister? This, that, and everything. I was fucking around with her. And she said, hell, I heard that there was a big story going on right now. And I was just like, fuck. And she goes, I live in LA. I could be down there in like no time if you want to talk about it. And of course, it was like, is she propositioning me? And I was like, I don't know. And I was like, hey, look, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, this, that, and the other thing. And she was like, yeah, you're listed as one of the instructors down there. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you're press, you're going to have to go through our PR, and they'll handle that. And she goes, no, I want to handle you. And she put handle in fucking parentheses. And it was just like, no. And then finally, she was like, she finally bugged out finally. And she goes, I'll get the story one way or the other. Right. Well, no, you're not. Come to find out, this was a big deal. And it actually, believe it or not, made it through a lot of channels. And nothing happened. And to me, that's a fucking miracle nowadays. Especially, it was the infancy of the internet. And, Twitter wasn't that big of a deal. If it was, I'll have to look into it. I don't know if it was around or not. It could have been. But, yeah, that definitely could have grown legs and walked right out the door and into the highway. I mean, it could have been bad, but the people were punished, and it was a couple of them. I finally got the opportunity to apologize to them because I knew who they were. They're friends of mine, and it was just like, holy shit. And, of course, you would have the conversation with them and say, hey, look, I know I'm apologizing for this because of the aftermath, but it was still your responsibility to not do this. And that's the only thing I'm apologizing. I'm sorry, I'm the guy who found it. So there was nothing you could do. Absolutely nothing you could do. All that stuff had to be categorized. So and we had I forget what kind of officer it was with us. It wasn't JAG, it was somebody else, but was making sure that we weren't doing anything wrong. So if we found something, like, what is it? Like, fuck. Here, this corporal was, ooh, Sergeant, come here, look at this. He was, look at what? I'm like, oh, fucking poop. So, anyway, that was that. So, yeah, it just basically means using your position of power as benefit, which is absolutely bad. You cannot do that. So yeah, that's that. Going over a couple military medals. The whole thing with the teachers and the students. It's not a good look. It's not good. Hopefully one day we can, there'll be some sort of outreach where we can take care of that or not. And that's the whole thing. The reason I brought up the whole thing with hot teachers sleeping with students, it's like the mother thinks it's a problem, the dad doesn't. All right. Once again, in America, we're torn. So, I mean, if you have two dads and the way, which one is going to be pissed off? Or you have two moms in the hee way, what's going to happen here? So, yeah, I don't know. There's got to be some sort of, there's got to be some sort of solution to this. So there's that. Funny places, we looked at those. Funny things on Google. Like I said, if you ever have an opportunity, get onto Google. There's a whole bunch of funny shit going on there. If you haven't noticed, I've got this thing on my finger. It's 2 Band-Aids. I made something last night where I had to empty 3 cans of food. I emptied them out, used a can opener, put it in there, and the trash can was overflowing. So I got something, and I put both of my hands in, and when I did, I felt something rip. It was one of those cans that I opened that put about an inch of a laceration across my thumb and about half an inch deep. And yeah, I was like, almost could fold it over. Of course, be careful putting shit in your trash can. I never thought I would have to say that, but yeah, there it is. But but anyway, tomorrow I think I'm gonna do my review on the Marines Netflix. I will not be doing one on Boots just because I'm not gonna watch it. I've heard a lot of bad stories about it, saying that the commercials were absolutely amazing. They look good. It looks good. They're getting everything right, but it's just all of a sudden it turns into like two friends is having leisure conversations during very violent training evolutions within the Marine Corps, which just doesn't happen. Like during a PFT, y'all don't just have the opportunity to talk and catch up, or in the middle of pugil sticks. Pugil sticks, and I said this the other day, pugil sticks, when you were doing that, it was like the first arena scene in Gladiator. It was, I mean, yeah, there were people pissing themselves. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I hope everyone has a good week. I'll be back tomorrow with that review for Marines. I'll put my 2 cents on and put my weight on it, and yeah, so stay frosty. Gunning out.
My bunghole.
A bunch of ball washing bastards.